Palace Entries by Presley Prince Jr. Addoh, The Survival Guide. Chapter 3, Clarity. Clarity is the relentless pursuit of discovering who you truly are in a world that constantly competes for your attention, identity, and purpose. It is the refusal to let distractions, expectations, opinions, and temporary circumstances define your worth. Society often encourages people to wear masks, chase approval, or settle for versions of themselves that are comfortable for others but disconnected from their authentic calling. Clarity is choosing to see beyond that illusion. It is the discipline of stripping away every false label, every fear, and every limitation until the truth remains. The journey is not simply about finding an identity, it is about uncovering the power that has always existed within you. When you gain clarity, you begin to recognize that you were never ordinary. You understand your strengths, your gifts, your purpose, and the unique influence you carry. The world may try to blind you with doubt, comparison, and confusion because a person who truly knows themselves is difficult to manipulate and impossible to intimidate. Clarity transforms uncertainty into confidence, confusion into direction, and hesitation into conviction. It is the moment you stop searching for permission to become who you were created to be and instead walk boldly in that truth. A person with clarity does not need constant validation because they have already discovered something far greater, the unwavering knowledge of who they are. That self-awareness becomes an unshakable foundation, allowing them to rise above every obstacle with wisdom, purpose, and quiet strength. In the end, clarity is not just seeing the path ahead, it is seeing yourself clearly enough to realize that the power you were searching for has been within you all along, waiting to be awakened. Track number 1: Clarify it with yourself. Clarify it with yourself is the courageous process of turning inward and confronting the parts of your life that are often easier to avoid than to understand. It is about doing the deep self-work required to uncover the truth about who you are by examining every experience that has shaped you, your victories, failures, trauma, pain, disappointments, and the trials and tribulations you have endured throughout your life. Every moment has left an imprint, influencing the way you think, react, trust, love, fear, and grow. Rather than running from those experiences, you choose to face them honestly, recognizing that they contain valuable information about your identity and the person you have become. Looking in the mirror is more than seeing your reflection, it is confronting your beliefs, your habits, your wounds, your strengths, your weaknesses, and the stories you have carried for years. It requires humility to acknowledge where you have been hurt, accountability for the choices you have made, and courage to separate who you truly are from what has happened to you. Through that honest reflection, you begin to recognize unhealthy patterns, uncover hidden strengths, and understand why certain experiences have shaped your character. This process is not about condemning yourself for your past but about learning from it, healing through it, and allowing it to become a source of wisdom instead of a lifelong burden. As you gain greater understanding of your own story, confusion begins to fade and self-awareness grows. You stop allowing unresolved pain to define your future and instead use it to build resilience, compassion, wisdom, and purpose. Clarifying it with yourself means making peace with your past without becoming imprisoned by it. It is the commitment to know yourself so deeply that no one else can define your identity for you. When you fully understand where you have been, why you have become who you are, and what you are capable of becoming, you gain the clarity to move forward with authenticity, confidence, and a renewed sense of purpose. Storyline for Clarify It With Yourself. Marcus spent most of his life believing he was the person everyone else said he was. Some called him quiet, others called him difficult, while a few dismissed him as someone who would never reach his potential. Instead of questioning those labels, he carried them like they were part of his identity. As the years passed, he buried painful memories of rejection, family struggles, broken friendships, failures, and moments that left scars no one could see. He stayed busy because slowing down meant facing emotions he had spent years avoiding. One day, exhausted from living for everyone else's expectations, he decided to sit alone with nothing but a journal, his thoughts, and an honest reflection in the mirror. For the first time, he stopped asking why life had been unfair and started asking what those experiences had taught him. He traced every fear back to its origin, every insecurity back to a wound, and every strength back to a hardship he had survived. He realized that his resilience was born from adversity, his compassion from his own suffering, and his determination from every time he had been underestimated. The mirror no longer reflected a broken man, it reflected someone who had endured, learned, and grown. The trauma had shaped parts of his story, but it was never meant to become his identity. As he clarified the truth with himself, he let go of the false labels that had controlled him for years and embraced the person he had been becoming all along. In that moment, Marcus discovered that healing was not pretending the past never happened, it was understanding it well enough that it no longer dictated his future. By confronting himself with honesty instead of fear, he found something he had been searching for his entire life, not a new identity, but the freedom to finally live as the person he truly was. Track number 2, What You Can Be. What you can be is not a question the world gets to answer for you, it is one that must be discovered from within. Every person is born with unique gifts, passions, values, and a sense of purpose that cannot be fully defined by society's expectations, cultural pressures, or the opinions of others. Too often, people spend their lives chasing careers, lifestyles, or identities that were chosen for them by family, friends, social media, or the desire for approval, only to realize they have been living someone else's vision instead of their own. The journey of discovering what you can be begins when you stop asking the world for permission and start asking yourself what truly gives your life meaning. It requires honest reflection, courage, and the willingness to trust your own convictions even when they differ from what others expect of you. While advice and wisdom from others can be valuable, no one else carries your experiences, your dreams, your talents, or the responsibility of living your life every single day. That responsibility belongs to you alone. No one can determine your purpose, define your potential, or decide the direction your life should take, because they are not the ones who will live with the consequences of those decisions. When you discover who you want to become from within, your choices are no longer driven by fear of judgment or the pursuit of acceptance but by authenticity and purpose. You begin building a life that reflects your own values instead of someone else's expectations. The greatest fulfillment comes not from becoming the person others imagined for you, but from becoming the person you were always capable of being. Your future is not something society gets to design, it is something you create through your own vision, your own courage, and your own commitment to living a life that is genuinely yours. Storyline for What You Can Be. When Daniel graduated from school, everyone seemed to have a plan for his life except him. His parents wanted him to become a lawyer because it was stable and respected, his friends encouraged him to pursue business because it promised wealth, and relatives constantly reminded him to choose a career that would impress others. For years, Daniel followed their advice, hoping that success would eventually bring him fulfillment. He earned promotions, received praise, and built a life that looked impressive from the outside, yet every achievement left him feeling strangely empty. One evening, after another long day, he sat alone and asked himself a question he had avoided for years: if no one else had an opinion, what kind of life would I choose? The answer came quietly but clearly. Ever since he was a child, he had been passionate about designing buildings and creating spaces that inspired people, but he had buried the dream because it did not fit everyone else's expectations. Instead of continuing to live according to other people's definitions of success, Daniel enrolled in architecture courses, accepted the uncertainty that came with starting over, and committed himself to the path that truly reflected who he was. Many questioned his decision, and some believed he was making a mistake, but for the first time in his life, their opinions no longer determined his direction. Years later, standing inside a community center he had designed, watching families gather and children laugh within walls that had once existed only in his imagination, Daniel realized that purpose could never be borrowed from someone else's expectations. It had to be discovered from within. He understood that advice could guide him, but only he could decide what to do with the one life he had been given. By choosing his own path instead of living someone else's dream, he found not only success, but the peace that comes from becoming exactly who he knew he could be. Track number 3, On Me. On Me is the mindset of taking complete ownership of your life and refusing to depend on someone else to create the future you desire. It is the realization that while support, mentorship, and opportunity can be valuable, no one can develop your discipline, make your decisions, or put in the work that your purpose requires. Success begins the moment you stop waiting for someone to rescue you, validate you, or hand you the life you dream about and instead accept that the responsibility belongs to you. When you say, "It's on me," you are choosing accountability over excuses, action over hesitation, and perseverance over dependency. You understand that setbacks are not invitations to quit but opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. This mindset does not reject the kindness or encouragement of others. Rather, it recognizes that lasting success is built on personal commitment and responsibility. At the end of the day, you are the one who must wake up early, make the sacrifices, learn the lessons, overcome the obstacles, and remain faithful to your vision when no one else is watching. No one can believe in your purpose more than you do, and no one can live your life on your behalf. On Me is the unwavering commitment to become the person your goals require, trusting that through consistent effort, resilience, and determination, you have everything within your control to pursue the life you are called to build. Storyline for On Me. When Elijah decided he wanted to build a business, he spent months waiting for the perfect opportunity. He hoped someone would introduce him to the right people, invest in his ideas, or give him a shortcut to success. Every time things failed to happen, he found another excuse to delay his dreams. One morning, after watching another year pass with little progress, he realized the life he wanted was never going to arrive through someone else's effort. He closed every distraction, stopped waiting for permission, and made a promise to himself, "It's on me." From that day forward, he studied when no one told him to study, worked when no one was watching, accepted failure as a lesson instead of an excuse, and showed up consistently even when results were slow. Friends came and went, opportunities were missed, and setbacks tested his resolve, but he no longer blamed circumstances or waited for someone to save him. Every challenge became another reason to work harder, learn more, and become stronger. Years later, when people admired everything he had built and asked who had helped him succeed, Elijah smiled with gratitude for those who had encouraged him along the way, but he knew the turning point had come the day he stopped depending on the world to change his life and accepted that the responsibility was his alone. The greatest breakthrough was not the success he achieved but the mindset he developed, the unwavering belief that his future would be determined by the choices he made every day because, in the end, it was always on him. Track number 4, Up Like It's a Daisy. Up Like It's a Daisy is about rising with purpose, energy, and determination every single day, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. Just as a daisy opens to the light each morning without hesitation, you must get up and commit yourself to the work that brings you closer to your goals. Success is rarely built through comfort or convenience. It is earned through consistency, discipline, and the willingness to act even when motivation is absent. Laziness has a way of disguising itself as waiting for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment never comes. Dreams remain dreams when they are not supported by action, and potential means nothing if it is never developed through hard work. Every morning presents a choice: remain where you are or take another step toward the life you envision. Those who accomplish great things are not always the most talented, they are often the ones who refuse to stay down after setbacks and continue showing up day after day. Up Like It's a Daisy is a reminder to stop making excuses, stop procrastinating, and stop allowing comfort to steal your future. Get up with intention, embrace the discipline that success demands, and put in the work even when no one is watching. Every early morning, every sacrifice, every hour spent improving yourself becomes another seed planted toward the life you are building. The difference between wishing for success and achieving it is found in the decision to rise, take responsibility, and keep moving forward, because every great accomplishment begins with the simple choice to get up and do the work. Storyline for Up Like It's a Daisy. Every morning, Noah would hit the snooze button, telling himself he would start chasing his goals tomorrow. Tomorrow turned into weeks, weeks became months, and before he knew it, another year had passed while his dreams remained exactly where they had always been, in his imagination. He watched other people succeed and convinced himself they were simply luckier, never realizing they were getting up while he was still making excuses. One morning, after looking at everything he had failed to accomplish, he became tired of being disappointed in himself. He got out of bed before the sun rose, laced up his shoes, wrote down his goals, and promised himself that every day from that moment forward he would get up like a daisy, opening each morning with purpose instead of procrastination. Some days he felt motivated, but many days he didn't. Still, he showed up. He studied when he wanted to rest, trained when he wanted to quit, and kept working when no one noticed his effort. Slowly, the discipline that once felt impossible became his lifestyle. Months later, people began to admire his progress and called him talented, but they had never seen the mornings he chose action over comfort or the countless times he refused to stay in bed when laziness whispered for him to quit. Noah realized that success had never been waiting for him to feel ready, it had been waiting for him to get up. From that day on, every sunrise reminded him that another opportunity had been placed in his hands, and the future he once wished for was being built one disciplined morning at a time. Track number 5, Quiet. Quiet is the discipline of protecting your peace, your privacy, and your personal life by understanding that not everyone deserves access to every part of who you are. Being reserved is not a sign of weakness, insecurity, or fear, it is a sign of wisdom and discernment. You recognize that genuine trust is earned through consistency, loyalty, and authenticity, not simply because someone is present in your life. There is a difference between people who are curious about you and people who truly care about you, and wisdom is knowing that distinction. You do not feel the need to explain yourself, reveal your plans, or share your deepest thoughts with everyone you meet. The people who are real, those who have stood beside you through challenges, earned your trust, and proven their loyalty, are the ones who know the parts of your life that matter most. Everyone else receives respect and kindness, but not unrestricted access to your personal world. Being quiet allows you to observe people's character before offering them your confidence, understanding that words shared with the wrong people can become opportunities for misunderstanding, gossip, or betrayal. Your silence is not secrecy, it is healthy boundaries. It reflects confidence in who you are rather than a desire to seek validation from others. A person who values discretion understands that some of the most important goals, relationships, struggles, and dreams are best protected until the right time and with the right people. Quiet is the strength to speak with intention, listen more than you talk, and reserve your deepest trust for those who have demonstrated that they deserve a place in your inner circle. Storyline for Quiet. When Jordan started his new job, he noticed that everyone seemed eager to know everything about everyone else. Conversations quickly turned into gossip, personal questions, and opinions disguised as concern. At first, he felt pressure to fit in by sharing details about his family, his goals, and the challenges he had overcome, but something told him to simply listen instead. Day after day, he quietly observed how easily private conversations became office rumors and how people who smiled together in the morning criticized each other by the afternoon. Rather than joining in, Jordan remained respectful, kind, and professional, but he kept his personal life private. Some co-workers assumed he was shy, while others thought he was mysterious, yet neither opinion bothered him because he knew that silence often revealed more about others than speaking ever could. Months later, when difficult times came, he discovered who genuinely cared for him and who had only been curious about his life. The few people who consistently showed loyalty, honesty, and support became the ones he trusted with his personal struggles, dreams, and victories. Everyone else knew only what they needed to know. Jordan realized that not everyone deserved a front row seat to his life simply because they were around him. He learned that being quiet was not about hiding who he was, it was about protecting what mattered most and giving access to the people who had earned it through trust, character, and genuine friendship. Track number 6, Know Better. Know Better is about the idea that people often make poor decisions because they lack wisdom, guidance, or understanding. The phrase, "if you knew better, you would do better," reminds us that growth begins with learning. Every experience, mistake, and lesson has the potential to shape a better future if we are willing to pay attention. Instead of repeating harmful patterns, chasing temporary satisfaction, or getting caught up in situations that lead to trouble, this message encourages seeking knowledge, listening to wise advice, and thinking before acting. Life rewards those who are committed to learning, because wisdom helps you recognize opportunities, avoid unnecessary hardships, and make choices that build your future instead of destroying it. You do not have to stay the person you were yesterday. Every lesson learned becomes another step toward becoming someone who knows better, lives better, and ultimately does better. Storyline for Know Better. Marcus grew up in a neighborhood where trouble was easy to find and good advice was easy to ignore. As a teenager, he followed friends into reckless decisions because he believed that was simply how life worked, never realizing there was another path. After one costly mistake forced him to face the consequences of his choices, an older mentor challenged him with a simple sentence, "If you knew better, you would do better." Those words stayed with him. Marcus began reading books, asking questions, learning from people who had built successful lives, and paying attention to lessons instead of excuses. As his understanding grew, so did his decisions. He walked away from bad influences, pursued honest work, and surrounded himself with people who wanted to see him succeed. Looking back, he realized that wisdom had changed what willpower alone never could. The more he learned about life, the less trouble appealed to him, proving that knowledge is not just information, it is the foundation for making better choices and building a better future. Track number 7, Valuables. Valuables is about recognizing that the greatest treasures in life cannot be bought, inherited, or measured by wealth. While money, jewelry, luxury, and possessions may have value, they can all be lost, stolen, or replaced. Morals, principles, and ethics, however, are priceless because they shape who you are and guide every decision you make. They determine how you treat others, how you respond when no one is watching, and whether your success is built on integrity or compromise. A person with strong character possesses a wealth that lasts longer than any material possession, earning trust, respect, and a legacy that cannot be purchased. This message reminds us to invest more time in developing honesty, humility, discipline, compassion, and integrity than in chasing temporary symbols of status. The most precious jewels you can ever collect are the values you carry within yourself, because they are the foundation of a meaningful life and a legacy that will outlive every earthly possession. Storyline for Valuables. When Daniel received his first big paycheck, he dreamed of expensive watches, designer clothes, and a luxury car because he believed those were the signs of success. His grandfather, however, handed him a small wooden box containing no money or jewelry, only handwritten notes with lessons about honesty, humility, discipline, respect, and keeping your word. At first, Daniel thought the gift was disappointing, but as the years passed, he watched people with great wealth lose everything through greed, dishonesty, and pride, while those who lived by strong morals and principles continued to earn trust, meaningful relationships, and lasting respect. He realized that the opportunities he received in life came less from what he owned and more from the character he carried. Long after his possessions had worn out and been replaced, the values his grandfather had given him continued to guide every decision he made. In the end, Daniel understood that the most valuable treasures are not the ones locked away in a safe, but the morals, principles, and ethics that no one can steal and that remain priceless for a lifetime. Track number 8, The Problem Child. The problem child is about how a lack of guidance, consistent supervision, and positive direction during childhood can leave a young person vulnerable to making harmful choices. Children are still learning right from wrong, and without caring adults to teach, correct, encourage, and protect them, they may look for acceptance, identity, or purpose in unhealthy places. What others label as a problem child is often a child struggling without the support, boundaries, or mentorship needed to grow into their potential. This message highlights the importance of parents, guardians, teachers, mentors, and communities in helping young people develop discipline, responsibility, and good judgment. While every person is ultimately responsible for their own choices as they mature, early guidance can make a profound difference in the paths they take. The song reminds listeners that many problems begin not with a child's desire to do wrong, but with the absence of consistent care, direction, and positive examples that help them understand how to do right. Tips and tricks for the problem child. Surround yourself with positive influences that encourage growth and good decision-making. Seek guidance from trustworthy adults, even if you do not receive it at home. Build relationships with parents, relatives, teachers, coaches, mentors, pastors, or community leaders who genuinely care about your future. Choose friends who inspire you to make wise choices rather than reckless ones. Walk away from situations, environments, and peer pressure that could lead to trouble. Stay involved in productive activities such as sports, reading, music, volunteering, work, or other constructive hobbies. Be willing to accept correction and learn from your mistakes instead of resisting advice. Ask questions and seek wisdom when you are uncertain about a decision. Think about the long-term consequences before acting instead of focusing only on the moment. Develop strong morals and values, including honesty, respect, self-control, responsibility, and integrity. Create healthy routines and habits that keep you focused on personal growth. Learn from positive role models whose lives reflect the kind of person you want to become. Take personal responsibility for your choices as you grow older. Understand that your upbringing does not have to define your future. Commit to learning, improving, and making one better decision at a time to build a successful and meaningful life. Track number 9, Better Days. Better Days is about holding on to hope when life feels heavy and refusing to let hardship define your future. When disappointment, failure, loneliness, or pain set in, it can be tempting to escape through unhealthy habits, addictions, or other vices that offer temporary relief but leave lasting consequences. Instead, this message encourages choosing resilience over resignation and remembering that difficult seasons are temporary. Just as the sun has risen before, it will rise again, bringing new opportunities, renewed joy, and fresh purpose. The time spent in the valley is not wasted if it is used to strengthen your character, deepen your discipline, and build the perseverance needed for the blessings ahead. Better days are not only about circumstances improving, they are also about becoming the kind of person who can fully appreciate and wisely steward those moments when they arrive. By continuing to grow through adversity instead of surrendering to it, you prepare yourself to experience future success, peace, and fulfillment with gratitude, maturity, and a heart that has been refined by the journey. Storyline for better days. After losing his job and watching one setback follow another, Elijah found himself standing at a crossroads where giving in to alcohol, bitterness, and hopelessness seemed easier than facing another difficult day. Every morning felt like another gray sky, and he wondered if the light would ever return. Then he remembered how life had once been filled with joy, opportunity, and laughter, realizing that if the sun had shined before, it could shine again. Instead of escaping his pain, he chose to face it. He exercised when he wanted to quit, prayed when he felt empty, read when his mind was clouded, and kept applying for opportunities even after countless rejections. Slowly, his character became stronger than his circumstances. Months later, a new opportunity opened the door to a career he had never imagined, and the peace he felt was greater than the success itself because he had become a different man through the struggle. Looking back, Elijah understood that the better days were not just waiting for him, they had been preparing him all along, and by refusing to surrender to his vices, he was finally able to enjoy those brighter days with gratitude, wisdom, and true fulfillment. Track number 10, Interlude, Family First and Success. Interlude, Family First and Success is about understanding that true success is not measured by what you achieve alone, but by how many lives you elevate along the way, especially those of your family. Reaching your goals should create opportunities to provide security, stability, and a better future for the people who stood beside you through every challenge. Whether it means helping your parents retire with dignity, supporting your siblings in pursuing their dreams, investing in the next generation, or simply being present and dependable, success becomes more meaningful when it is shared. This message is about using your accomplishments to build a lasting foundation rather than chasing status for yourself alone. Wealth, influence, and recognition are at their greatest value when they become tools to uplift, protect, and empower the people you love. In the end, the richest legacy is not the success you keep, but the success you create for your family, ensuring that your victories become their opportunities and that your blessings extend far beyond your own lifetime. Storyline for Interlude, Family First and Success. When Noah finally built the business he had dreamed about for years, everyone expected him to celebrate by buying a mansion, exotic cars, and every luxury he had once admired. Instead, his first calls were to his parents, telling them they would never have to worry about another bill again. He paid off their home, helped his sister start the business she had always wanted, created education funds for his younger relatives, and made sure every family gathering was filled with peace instead of financial stress. Watching his loved ones smile, pursue their dreams, and live with security brought him more joy than any award or bank balance ever could. He realized that success had never been about standing alone at the top, it was about reaching back, lifting his family with him, and building a legacy that would bless generations after him. In that moment, Noah understood that the greatest reward of his success was not what he could buy for himself, but the opportunities, stability, and hope he could provide for the people who had always been his first home.